It's so fun watching shows like Get Organized with the Home Edit and Tidying Up with Marie Kondo, and seeing how the decluttering and organizing process can totally transform a space and change lives. Y'all, that is a real thing and one of the reasons why I love my job. So if you are one of those people who'd like to have that experience, but you don't know how to translate the images and the process you see on TV into your own life, here are 5 steps to help you get moving in the right direction, plus some design tips and some resources to help things go a little easier. And if you're new to the channel, I'm professional organizer Lisa Archilla Sims, and I love helping people understand what their space really needs so they spend their organizing time, energy, and dollars wisely. So let's go. So step 1 is be clear about what you like. When you see an image that really grabs your attention, drill down into why. Was it the design? Was it the color? Maybe you perceived that it would solve a problem that you have. It could be something as simple as just the color palette of the space, the general vibe. It might be the stylistic theme, like was it contemporary, traditional, transitional, mid-century modern. It could also be something in detail that grabbed your attention. Maybe the shelving, the way it was laid out, or even the thickness of the shelves. And a lot of times it will be the shape and the size of containers. So I really encourage you to find 8 to 10 images of the type of project that you want to work on. So say you're going to do a closet. So it would be great for you to find images that actually are similar in size and configuration of your closet, because that'll just make the elements easier to transition. But basically, you're going to take your 8 to 10 images and just make a short list on each image of the things that you like, and then compile your lists into one master list and put your must-haves at the top. And those 5 or 6 items are the ones that are going to be guiding you through the rest of this process. So for the purposes of this video, let's just pretend that I'm working on a closet. I've actually pulled some things from some home edit episodes that I really liked. So let's take a look. There were several things in episode 1 that I really liked. I absolutely love the color of these boxes. And by the way, I noticed that I tend to be drawn to white closets. Most home edit episodes have, if not all, have white closets, but I do really like that. I also really like the look of the matching hangers. I know that's kind of a small thing, but I just really feel like that pulled the space together in a simple way. I don't feel like I need a whole seating area, but I do really value a place to sit down in the closet. I think that could really be a good thing. In episode 2, I really appreciate the storage and especially that work surface that the island provided. And I don't know if I'll have enough space, but I really do like it. And I also really like the use of space in this small closet. It can be hard when it's a small space, but the clear stacking bins and the hooks make it really possible to see everything, which is a big deal. And I do like the look of those hooks. Episode 8 had a big win for me with that over-the-door rack. That's just an alpha product from Container Store, but I absolutely adore those because they can be reconfigured for so many different uses. So that's a really big deal for me. Step 2 is set your budget. So obviously cost is a big consideration when you're doing an organizing project. Just the clear containers alone can add up into the hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars depending on the project. And then there's also the wonderful world of custom closets where you could spend, maybe $1,500 all the way up to $20,000. So I really encourage you to do some research and find out how much the things on your list cost. And I would take those 5 or 6 top must-haves and set your budget according to those and really use that as a guideline. If you need to spend less money, I promise you can find substitutes and less expensive ways to do the things on your list. And we'll talk about those in a little bit. But if you don't have a lot of money to spend, don't be discouraged, because you can still make a great space on a small budget. So in my pretend closet, I've got 6 things that I'm kind of interested in, and I've kind of guesstimated the price of those so that I could try to set my budget. The island, depending upon what it's made out of and how big it is, and if it has drawers or just shelves, I'm thinking $300 to maybe $1,000. Furniture like a chair or a stool, maybe $100 to $500. The hangers, probably $100 to $300. The shoe bins are actually $10 each. Those are at the Container Store. And if I did all of my shoes, I would need probably 30 to 40 of those. So that's going to be $300 to $400. And then the hooks are about $2 each. So I guess that depends on how many I use. The Elfa over the door rack is around $120, but it depends on which baskets and how I configure it. But I think $120 is a pretty good ballpark for that. So if I did everything on my list and it costs the most that I think it's going to, it looks like I'm at about $2,500 to $3,000. And I really don't want to spend that much. I think I would rather spend around $1,000 to $1,500 at the most. So I'm gonna need to go back and look at my 6 things and decide which ones I could do a different way, or that maybe don't matter to me as much as others. Step 3 is be realistic about your time. Knowing how much time your project is going to take is really important. In the home edit, you see a team of people working late hours on consecutive days, and honestly, unless you hire a professional organizing team, it's probably going to just be you doing the purging, planning, shopping, and organizing. And if you work full-time, you'll probably be doing that at night or on the weekends, and it may take several weeks or even a month depending on the project. A small walk-in closet takes me 5 hours to edit and organize, plus 1 to 3 hours that I'm going to spend shopping online and driving to stores to pick up product. And then if I have to research something, it's another hour. So that same pantry is going to take one person maybe 7 to 8 hours. And by the way, if you'd like help on estimating the amount of time your project will take, I've done a video on that and I will link it in the description below. The home edit is about the organizing process, but mainly with an emphasis on the finished product, including things like aesthetics and redesigns and organizing product. Marie Kondo's show is much more focused on the decluttering process and how to have a clutter-free and minimalist lifestyle. Since we're talking about time, it's important to say that all good organizing begins with decluttering, or as Clea and Joanna would say, editing. So what is notable about Marie Kondo's show is that there is a day counter on the screen. And if you didn't notice that, you might get the impression that Marie came over every day for a couple of days and the project was done in less than a week. But that day counter shows the passage of weeks. So really, Marie's just showing up at the beginning of the next step in the decluttering process. And all that work being done by the family in between her visits is taking weeks, or in some cases months, which is very realistic for a big decluttering project. So budget your time as well as your money. You should have at least a general idea of how long you think the project is going to take. And then on your calendar, create a realistic schedule of how all of this is going to fit in with your regular responsibilities. And if you have a big decluttering project, or even like a closet remodel, this is going to be a very important step. So step 4 is create a design. You now have your vision, you know what you want to put into your space, you know how much you want to spend. Now you get to look at your closet and see what things you really need, what are some problems that you need to solve organizationally, and find the right elements, containers, shelving, whatever it is that's going to be the best match for your situation. And so before we look at my must-have list again, let's look at 4 design tips that will help you make those decisions. So the first design tip is measurements are critical to this process. You have to know the specs of your walls and shelves if you have them. Otherwise, you won't know what organizing project will work. So if you fall in love with a particular bin that happens to be 14 inches deep, but then your shelves are only 12 inches deep, you're going to have to rethink your product or change out your shelves. The second design tip is to consider the best way to house a particular item. Is it going to be in a drawer? Would it be better on a shelf loose or on a shelf in a bin? Would it be better hanging on a hook? Or would it be better inside of a tray or a Lazy Susan? Third tip is that if you have a small closet or small space that you're working on, you have to maximize all the surfaces. So you're going to be focused on things that stack or even that hang down. And of course, you can always just hang directly on the wall. But using every bit of space is going to be really important. The fourth tip is ease of use. And this is a really big deal because if something is not easy to use, what happens is just over time it becomes kind of irritating and negative and you just won't do it. You'll avoid it and you will have then wasted money and time, and then things don't get put up and it's more cluttery and it's not good. So one thing to consider is, for instance, in a stacking situation, if you need to maximize space, using vertical space by stacking containers is really a great idea. But just make sure that if it's something with a lid or something that you have to lift off, that you don't do more than 2 rows. If you go into the 3rd row, whatever you need on the bottom, then you have to move a bunch of stuff. So if you do need to go up higher, a better alternative is to just have something that's a drawer pull-out or a flip-down door. And a similar situation is if you're using reach-in bins that stack. So, it's going to have the cutout. Make sure if you're going to stack them and create rows that you actually try it stacked and reach your hand in and try to pull something out and make sure that it's really enough clearance to do what you want to do, and even that your hand feels comfortable going in and out. A lot of product that has the open cutout is shaped differently, and there's a big difference between clearances. So just make sure that you like it and that you'll really use it and it will be easy to use. And if you've gotten some value from this video so far, please hit that like button. It really helps my channel and it helps me to know what kind of content you enjoy so I can create more of it. So after looking at my 4 design tips and measuring my closet, I discovered that I really don't have enough space for the island. It's just not big enough. So that automatically reduces my budget by as much as $800, which is great because I was trying to get down to $1,000 or $1,500. And now I have enough wiggle room where I think I could adjust the rest of the things on my list and come out pretty good. Step 5 is shop according to your plan. So I really encourage you, do not shop until you have a plan. Organizing product is always the last component in an organizing project. That's why knowing your measurements and deciding what type of product you need up front is so important, because you could literally spend tens of hours shopping online, going to stores, and it is a huge time and energy drain. So avoid that, get your plan in place, and shop according to your plan. Of course, there are times where what you've decided you need doesn't exist or you can't find it. And that's actually where your DIY skills may come in handy. And sometimes the product you want just isn't in your budget. But that's where having your design in place is so helpful, because you have your measurements and you know what you want the product to do, and then you just need to research and find some substitutions. So for example, in the Home Edit, most of their product is clear, and it is very easy to find clear organizing containers at a lesser price, and probably in the exact size, if not similar, to Home Edit product line. Marie Kondo has a new organizing product line out at Container Store, and it's based on sustainability. So you're going to find things like wood and ceramic and paper-based organizing product, but with a little research, you can mimic those as well. And here's Marie Kondo showing up at 2 different people's homes with just random boxes to help them organize. So you can definitely just repurpose things around the house if you need to.
Oh, we have
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have a lot of boxes.
Having said all that, product from the Home Edit and Marie Kondo is well designed and well made. If you've got the budget and it's a good fit for your project, then go for it. And if you need help learning how to select organizing product, I have a video on that I will link in the description below. So back to my imaginary closet. I decided that things that I really need to store that are not working for me right now are more smaller items. So I'm actually going to shift some of the money in my budget to buy a second over-the-door rack. So I'm going to have 2 of those. And even though I really like the shoe bins, I'm going to do fewer because they're pretty expensive. And I think I can accommodate that by taking my out-of-season shoes and just putting them in lesser expensive shoe boxes up higher, and keeping the shoes that I'm wearing currently in those open bins. And then I only have to buy maybe 20 or 30 of those. That'll save me some money. And the hangers, I'm just going to do because I really want to do that. One of my other new ideas is, because I love that blue color and I want to have a place to sit in my closet, I'm going to just try to find an inexpensive chair, maybe at a garage sale or some other cute thing that I can repurpose. And I'm just going to find some fabric in that color and do some DIY and reupholster it. And then I've brought that color and I have a chair in my space for maybe a couple $100. I did have to give up my island, but considering all the things that I'm going to do in the space that really make me happy, I'm okay with that. I think it's going to turn out really well. I know you know this, but every image that you see, whether it's in a magazine or a streaming TV show, is highly controlled. And it doesn't even represent that same space as it would be used every day. And it's not going to be the exact translation of those elements as they will appear in your own home. But it can still be amazing and something that brings you a lot of satisfaction. So watch, be inspired, and have fun creating something in your own home as beautiful as the images you see on TV. If you want more inspiration, click that subscribe button. And if you'd like more videos on the design process, check out this playlist. Thank you so much for watching, and happy organizing!